AI expert Dan Sodergren joins us to discuss it. Hello, Dan.
Hello.
What's the appeal here?
Well, I mean, I normally talk about the positives of AI, and they far outweigh the negatives. But of course, this new video technology that's out there, and Zora, and there's other ones, obviously, Google's just brought out their version, and there's lots of these out there. It means that this is very, very easy to do. And of course, Robin Williams, I mean, who wasn't a fan of that amazing guy and the heartbreaking story of how he left us? And he was so warm and so lovely. And I mean, maybe some people really do want him to be alive, and that's the emotive reason. This is the classic race to the bottom of the brainstem, right? It's how you get folk. But this whole new world of social media, especially around AI, seems to be more about attention, and the algorithms are rewarding this bad behavior. And so, unfortunately, it's more to do with money than anything else. You can literally make these videos now that's so easy to do. It's so quick to clone somebody. You could argue that because Robin Williams had such a recognizable voice, maybe that's part of it. Maybe you've seen a lot of these videos. Sometimes he's got his beard there as well, and therefore maybe the beard makes it easier for the AI to kind of hide the face not being so great. Maybe it's even the fact you can easily spell his name, and so it easily trends. But there's technological reason for this, but actually most of it's emotional, and sadly it's economic. People are looking to make a quick buck, I think, off him, unfortunately, in this kind of slightly sick way, in a kind of weird way. I don't think it's morally right.
Is this all bad, Dan? The only reason I ask this is because randomly my wife had her 60th earlier this year, and that she doesn't have many photographs of her mum and dad. And my sister got hold of a couple of them and just used AI gently just to make them move ever so slightly. But it was quite powerful. So for those people who've lived their life in the media, there's so much footage of them available, and no one's gonna want to manipulate my in-laws to fool people, on social media with a political message or otherwise, aren't they? So, as ever with technology, it can have good and bad uses, presumably.
Well, no, of course. I mean, the positive side of it could be quite amazing. This is the democratization of that piece of technology and ability. Normally, it would cost thousands of pounds to do this, and now it's costing 10p or 20 pence. So it's an amazing thing. But a lot of these videos aren't created for positive reasons. They're created because moral outrage and angry people click on things, and so you do wonder whether they kind of picked on this lady because, to be fair, she has been quite anti-AI as well. And so this kind of moral outrage that happens, so you get this kind of the fanning the flames of publicity, which of course, ironically, we're doing by talking about it. But as you say, the positive side of this is the fact that you might be able to do something really positive for your friends and family, and that's a great thing. The negative side, of course, is the fact that perhaps we need to start looking at the laws, because I know you just kind of said that no one would be that interested about cloning your friends and family, but actually that's the next bit. Robin Williams is the start of this, but people cloning friends and family, but those people, and being used in like fraud and cybersecurity scams and these things, that's the future that's in the next couple of months. So we have to start thinking about it.
Well, that was going to be my final question, really, to ask you to list some of the dangers of this technology. And I think you've hit the nail on the head there, because it's hard. Deniability will be difficult the more sophisticated this technology becomes.
Absolutely, and we're going to go into that kind of post-truth world where you can't trust anything online. But it's even worse when you think about it from a work point of view. I talk about the future of work, and it's really, really important in a work environment. What happens if your boss, you suddenly have a Zoom call with your boss, and you truly believe your boss has just fired you, or there's an HR issue, and these other things, and there's a blackmailing thing. There's lots of different things where this can pan out. And we've got to start thinking about it. And it's quite interesting to see that over in Denmark, I think Denmark's the only country so far that's done this. And they're looking around how you can copyright your own face and you can start to protect your image. Well, we don't actually have those rights in this country. And I think maybe that's something we've got to start thinking about as this technology becomes easier and easier to use in both, plus and the positive and unfortunately the negative ways.
It's quite terrifying in a sense, isn't it, Dan?
Well, it is in a lot of sense, yeah, especially around the video and the generative AI and the deep fake things. And this is what we've got to start. We've got to have a kind of a green cross code, a digital green cross code, as I like to call it. We've got to start teaching the next generation. And of course, the past generations as well, that this is the next frontier. So you can't trust things that you see online, but also you might not be able to trust what you see as a video call. And certainly not what you can hear like a video recognition. I mean, it's so easy now to clone someone's voice, even from the last 5 minutes of us talking, someone can clone our voices very easily, and therefore they can be used. So we've all got to start thinking of these, the slightly darker side of AI as well as the positives.
It does beg a final question, and I hesitate to put the BBC forward in this, but where do you begin to go in this modern age for a media source that you can trust. But in this day when everyone wants simply their opinions reinforced, these would be very useful tools, wouldn't they? Because they can get anyone saying what they want to hear.
Well, and this, of course, is the biggest danger, isn't it? It's disinformation and misinformation. And this is what's happened on a global scale. This is the kind of slightly Black Mirror kind of scary side of it. You mix this in with things like Cambridge Analytica and these other things and data, and all of a sudden you're getting into the world of politics, etc. But this is exactly why we need a free press. This is exactly why we need things like the BBC, so we can actually have a sense of truth in that matter. And whether we can protect everybody from misinformation when everyone can use AI, I think what we've got to really think is actually how do we teach the next generation to be critical thinkers and not just believe everything they see online. Just like, we were taught, don't believe everything you read. Well, now it might not be, don't believe everything you watch on TikTok.
Yeah, interesting. Dan, thanks very much for being with us and staying up tonight. Appreciate it.